Apologize. I have 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting of Budget and Finance on our May 22nd. Budget hearing together. All right, you have in place, in your hands, the water department's portion of their budget. If you want to look over these things, we may give a few minutes for the board chairperson to arrive. I think weather maybe has them slowed back a little. Mr. Slee, I'm glad to see you here. I wasn't sure with the current weather where you might be able to make or not. Glad you're making it. I saw you gentlemen out roaming already and working. It seemed like cleaning up roads. Appreciate the work they're doing in situations like this. Seems that's been a little heavy lately. Do we have a breakdown of how many individuals would be under clerical personnel and under other salaries and wages before she gets here? Does anybody know that by chance? It's okay if not, just asking. All full-time? That question there was on line item 162. Clerical personnel, 3 full-time, 1 part-time, 189, 17 full-time. I believe that is stating a 3% increase. That's what I was just figuring out. We'll give you a few minutes to get ready. Water department is the first one on. We did the highway fund last night. When you're ready, if you want to step to the podium over here, we can move from there, that public mic. Good evening, how are you?
Blessed.
How awesome.
Good to be here.
So as we're looking at the water department's proposed budget, Anything in here you want to detail for us?
The increase is actually due to an increase in the quantity of customer, not a rate change. So there was not any aggressive changes or anything abnormal that was presented within this budget or as planned.
So no rate increase in this budget.
No, sir, there's not.
Is the 3% under operating expenditures, is that stating the 3% raise?
There's not a 3% raise in this budget. No.
So what is? the
There is
raise?
so our operations. I know the numbers better than I know what the. So which one are we discussing? What number?
I'm asking what it says operating expenditures. It has 3% out beside it.
I think I'm looking at the copy she just gave me.
I'm sorry?
Thinking. You have a number on that one?
There's not a number there. It's above the 50.
So you're talking about just the whole section within itself?
It says 3%.
Yes, so
that-
there, let me confirm with what the board has approved and make sure that you have a copy of what the board approved before we. What my records showed was not a 3%. I believe I actually had a 2.5% in ours. We will not exceed that due to the fact that we do not have a permanent manager in position at this time. That the supervisor director's position is actually in there within this budget, which will not be pulled from the budget at this time because we're not, although I do know that this begins the 1st of July. We hope to have someone by that time. So your operating expenditures as a whole within your is not with a 30% increase that's presented to you today is not based on the payroll going to 3%. There's actually a cost increase for doing business with other contracts. We have accounting services. We also have the group that does the systems control for us and there's our contractual services.
Understood. I'm just looking at some line items. Line item 162. How many clerical personnel is represented under that line item?
162 clerical personnel. 3 full-time, 1 part-time.
What is the salary of a full-time clerical personnel?
Depends on what their step would be, sir. Let me look and see if I have the breakdown, but it's based upon the wage study that was determined by MTAS that the water department adopted and that the county adopted as well. And I do not have the breakdown for the individual pays, but I do have 3 full-time individuals and 1 part-time on that rate.
Is that rate only for those individuals? There's nothing else coming out of that?
There's 4 people or 4 serving.
So it's fair to say that those are $60,000 jobs? And
With-
30,000 for a
With
part-time?
your overtime, which is your next item. Yes, sir, sure.
Uh,
You have 1 person that's part-time on here is what my notes state.
It would not include overtime
Let me
to that 60,000 I was looking at, if I'm thinking of that
double
correctly.
check. Due to the fact that you were presented this budget tonight, I have that number is with the 2.5%. And yes, sir, with that person's seniority, their tenure, and the steps within the program. Because it does say clerical, but you do have, I'm gonna call that some managerial staff within there.
So those have an average salary of 60,000 plus?
I can't say average because I don't have the breakdown.
Well, when I break down
But if you break if
233,000,
you break 4 positions, yes, but you've got 3 part-time, 3 full-time and 1 part-time.
right, so that means some of them are well over 60.
They may be.
Line 189, 17 full staff. Is the reason for the decrease in the budget this year due to less personnel?
Not at this time. We only have a 2.5% increase with 14 full-time and 2 part-time on that position.
Say that
you mean-
again?
Not with, from what I understand, we've had 2 openings, but we do have 14 full-time and 2 part-time on line 189.
The number went from budgeted last year, $821,773 to this year's budget proposal, $752,000.
We also have a couple individuals that have retired, so some of the new hires are not coming in with the qualifications that those who are
At the
retired.
same pay rate. Understood. You do believe this budget only has a 2.5% raise to personnel?
That is what was presented to the board, yes, sir.
If you need a few more minutes to look through your numbers, you're more than welcome. I said if we need a little bit more time to look through these, I know it's quite a few numbers in front of you here to look at. Just take that time. It would appear total operating expenses increased a little over $200,000, 233,000, somewhere in that range.
Line 321, engineering services. 23-24 was budgeted for 10,000. And a proposal of 63,860. What was that increase for?
The water and sewer department is facing quite a few projects ahead for the future. And that is for us to maintain safe water, safe tanks, and get them into service, which is going to require for us to have the engineering consulting firm to come in and actually help assist with those projects and make sure that they are in compliance with today's regulations.
Does that cover your question? Do I hear any action on the budget presented? Mr. Ford? I got you.
I don't understand the net position July the 1st being 6,053,000. And the net position June the 30th is 6.5 million. Which is considerably above all the others over here. I don't understand that.
So that's saying the amount
That's
of.
the very bottom line.
Yes, sir, that's, so July 1 would be where they would start their fund balance, if we might call that net position. And June 30th is where they would end, so an increase in bottom line at the end of roughly 500,000. In other words, an increase to the bottom line of $500,000.
I can't find it on here unless it's labor.
No, so that's not an increased cost, that's an increased income.
Yeah, right.
So in other words, it's coming in off the, it would increase their fund balance to that amount. It's coming in from services and charges. That would be found in your service charges side, intake versus the outgo for cost.
So that's on the positive side.
That is correct. They projected to positively gain to the department over 500,000, or right at 500,000 next year.
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the budget as presented. Is there any discussion on that? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, up next, we will move from water and sewer. We did highway last night. We also completed the county buildings last night. We are on page 35 of your packet. 56,700 parks. I think Miss Amy and Mr. Shalee were able to discuss this morning on the questions within this budget. Mr. Shalee, in talking with Miss Amy, I think you were able to come to the understanding that there was a position that was currently presented here to move out of the 111 and into the 101. Is the main reason for this change?
Yes, sir. That was the major increase.
Would you have any concern with us moving that position back to the 111 and leaving this one with that position?
She works both areas. We're talking about Miss Tina Kent. She's the one that keeps downtown as clean as we do, and also up. Well, you see her all over town. If you're ever around, she's everywhere, but she takes care of the park as well. So she does both. So it'd be fine with me. Yes, sir.
Speaking on that, I had a citizen today and I was gonna mention to you that, mentioned they had seen the individual we're speaking of, in the town, working quite a bit lately and keeping things clean. You might see her out from time to time in one of the city trucks and is doing an outstanding job. We
Yes,
appreciate, I had a citizen come to me and let me know, hey, looks like there's a hardworking individual right there for the county.
I get a lot of remarks from Miss Kent. She's a godsend.
Great to hear. So no issue with moving that one back to that 111?
No, sir.
What about leaving it? I mean, urban services is pretty bogged down. I mean, what mind if it's staying in 101?
My position is fine either way, but I would ask that we move it back to the 111. That's where it was funded out of until somehow in this budget it got moved, is all it was. She's working in both areas, mostly spending her time in town and in the park. But I do understand your desire and you are more than welcome to move in the direction you wish.
I make a motion, we leave it like this here. In 101.
I hear a motion and a second to leave it as is and take the budget as is given, or just leaving the position. Motion on the whole budget. Mr. Cochran, are you good with that for the second? Okay. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating yes. Any opposed? No, no. It is favorable. Mr. Slee, I appreciate you, sir.
Thank
I
y'all.
think we've still got a few more to get through. You're the rest of the night. You're the man of the night, it looks like.
Yes, sir.
Moving to page, we'll do it out of order, I guess, here. Let's just do the 116. We're very close to it, page 40. We'll change our order. I don't see a reason we can't. Starting on page 40, 116 is page 40 through page 43. I know it looks like some large cuts, but remember there were quite a few vehicles bought with grant money out of this fund, in this fund last year. So don't let the 1 million down to the 623,000 completely make your mind think when it greatly dropped the cost. There were some vehicles purchased, quite a bit of equipment actually purchased last year. We had need. Mr. Slee keeps his vehicles running, and there was need, and they were purchased. Where are we on the new door-to-door truck?
We started out in December, now we're in February, so it'll be a while before we get it, but we're on the list, so hopefully soon.
Your current truck is making it.
Yes, sir. It just needs some repairs. It's gonna be down for at least 2 months getting some of that stuff worked on, so as soon as we get the other one, we'll down this one and get the repairs made.
Thanks, sir. Any questions in the 116?
Yeah, the labor mechanic up
Where?
to 125.
Where you at?
That's 149, 55, 732, 149.
2149?
No, 149.
149, labor
Labor
mechanics, page 41. Labor mechanics, line 149.
Is that an extra labor we got there, or what's that increase?
I don't think it's we may have added an employee, but I don't think so.
That's almost,
That's one convenience center attendant, and then we have a mechanics assistant and a mechanic, and a vacant, which is a part-time driver that we've been searching for, and we just hadn't been able to fill the position. It's a mechanic, part-time convenience center attendant, a mechanics assistant, and a part-time driver. The part-time driver is vacant right now, as well as the mechanics assistant. We'll get it filled as soon as possible, and then the mechanic is, we were blessed to get him. We got him, he's a young man that's, got a few kids at home, and, he was tired of driving to Gallatin back and forth every day. He's trained on, he's been to school for diesel mechanics. He's worked for Sumner County School Bus Garage as well as Macon County. I don't know. We were lucky to get him when Kendall retired. He's up to date on all the newer DEF systems, the computer systems on these trucks. As well as our equipment, so.
there's a 30, roughly, what's that, $35,000 increase there in that line item. So you think that's not an additional position, just,
Well, last year it was under labor. We had that under a laborer's position, was Kendall Scruggs, and when he retired, we just started this mechanics position. Kendall was actually the mechanic and getting that pay. But he was under laborers, not labeled as a mechanic.
understood. It is my understanding there are no new positions in this budget.
None whatsoever, no, sir. I've been blessed. We've got a super good crew right now, and, gracious for the new equipment and the trucks that we have. We're set. You may not hear that again this year, but we're set.
Construction of the new guardhouse and fencing, is that the convenience center or?
Yes, sir. The guard shack has been updated. We left that just got, left by accident. The fencing is still having to be done. We're having people come in through the back side of the convenience center on, weekends, nights and stuff like that. So we're gonna eventually have to fence all that off. And, right now we've got millions of dollars worth of equipment out in the weather. We've got a new backhoe, a used backhoe, 2 tractors, a dump truck, a bucket truck. All this equipment's sitting out in the weather, so we're looking to try to build a shed on the back side of the shop to get some of this out of the weather and just extend the longevity of it. I mean, we'd really like to get everything indoors. So that's part of that.
Will that 35,000 cover that?
No, sir, that'll get the engineering and a good start, but, if we can do it a little bit at a time, get it engineered, and just ensure that we're doing it right, we'll just build it a little at a time, get it in as needed. I don't expect a $500,000 building to be built out of this year's budget at all. We'll piece it together.
Any other discussion items within the budget?
Like a motion would approve it.
I hear a motion to approve. I have a second by Mr. Cothran. Any discussion further? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The 116 does move favorable. I'm sorry. That was the full 116, my understanding, correct? Yes. Mr. Cothran, was that correct for you? Yes. All right, if you will now turn, we will move to waste pickup, page 56. Waste pickup is at the top of page 56. 55, 731. Out of the 111. Just to make sure clearly we understand that 20% is 20% of the salary for Mr. Slee comes from this one area, so that it's broke up into some different accounts. Again, this is another one of those that's kind of hard to see, the 775,000 to 338,000 looks like a drastic change in cost. But this is another location, if you're, this is actually where the door-to-door pickup truck came out of, that 400,000, which was done back in February, maybe? Somewhere right in that area, February or March is when we went through and got that truck
Yes, sir.
ordered. Over the 2-year term, it's not up very much at all. So Mr. Ford, he has plans to repair the other door-to-door truck, but the current ordered truck that we budgeted in the amendment in, I think it was February or March, I'm not sure which one of those exact months was, right now is scheduled for delivery in February of next year. So once he gets that truck, he thinks he can, hopefully the motor, I think it was a motor issue that was a worry on the truck he's got.
Yes, yes, sir.
Nothing wrong with the bed or any of those issues, so
No, sir.
he can get that taken apart, fixed in-house, and have that as a quality spare truck, or if needed, whatever is needed to do with that truck.
The 45,000 for Christmas decorations, that's something you're looking at purchasing for this year?
Mr. Slade, did you hear that question?
Sir.
The
Oh,
45
yeah, hopefully, we're shopping.
Do you have a question, Mr. Gregory, on that one?
It's the other, I mean, all the ones we've got, I mean, we need new stuff.
Well, yeah, I believe they came in 97, I think. I'd have to talk to my predecessor and make sure, and he told me who donated them. But I just can't remember to save my life, and he's told me a dozen times. But they've been through 2 floods in the basement. We've pressure washed them and retaped them and relamped them twice. Now it's got to where the corrosion inside the cables, they'll have to be completely rewired. and relamped. And, no matter what we do with them, they don't look like they're supposed to. I mean, we've tried, I don't know how they do it, but we certainly can't.
Maybe we can talk to Enbridge or something about maybe make our town look better.
I know Goose Gala's been real gracious and they may pick this up. I don't
I
know.
was getting ready to ask it about the Goose Gala. Make a motion, we approve
Which one?
this, the,
We're looking first at the 55, 731 and 56, 900,
yes.
both. Have a motion to approve both. I have a second by Mr. Cochran. That is for 55, 731 waste pickup and 56, 900 other social, cultural, and recreation. Is everyone clear with the motion? With that said, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Thank you. It is favorable. Folks, we have some time left, in my opinion, of things here.
I have one more.
Oh, which one am I missing?
116-55751.
So the entire 116 was approved. We can go back to it if you wish to.
Wow, I didn't know this was part of that 116. I've always kept it separate, but that's fine if y'all pass it,
If
great.
you want us to go back, we can go back now.
No, sir, I've got another thing I'd like to talk about while we're here. I hate to take backwater and go back even though county buildings is passed, but I met with some of the train reps today. And, they've terminated a couple of guys that were supposed to be doing their due diligence up here. And I hadn't received any of the information as far as the aftercare for these units. They're telling me it's gonna be somewhere around $10,000 a year for maintenance and upkeep as far as computer upgrades in these units down here. That's what I've been told. Minimum of 6. They're wanting to get around 10. And I haven't received the bid proposal by any, they just came up and met with me today. This is the very start of it. So if y'all want to kick this down the road until we get more information, it's totally understandable. I would like to shop as well because, you know, it's their idea. So I like to look around a little bit before I make a decision, but at the same time, I want y'all to be aware that these units are gonna need some kind of a maintenance that we're not qualified to do as far as the computer and electronics in them.
So these units are controllable through full computer means, is that what we're saying?
For what?
They're controllable fully by computer?
Yes,
One location, one area can control?
actually,
all-
there's a computer in each unit, they're wanting to run. They said it takes about a half an hour to an hour to just put a hard test on it, run it completely through all of its paces and make sure it's hitting the parameters as it should. And, you know, those technicians cost money to get up here and have them do all that. The tech support and all that is totally free. It's paid for. We've had a lot of issues with them that I've talked to about. They've assured me today that it's gonna be taken care of and they'll be up in the next couple of weeks to get it done. We were supposed to have access on our phones and an app to adjust these units. I've been locked out. My password's been changed for the control box downstairs. And, they tell me that the techs will be here in a couple of weeks to get that worked out. So, that all this stuff's supposed to be totally free. We also asked about some information on some washable filters. The units have washables in them now, but for us to take them out and have them out a day, washing them and waiting on them to dry is a chance for that unit to be contaminated with dirt or dust due to high traffic. If it's a boating type of year, or just because we would rather be able to just swap them, take the dirty set, wash them and let them dry and store them for the next swap. We wouldn't have to buy an entire set. We could do it, 5 at a time or whatever, but there's a couple of things that we would like to purchase just to help our maintenance program a little better. That's what they're wanting to do, is sell me a maintenance program. And I totally cut that out this morning, so. We wash our own coils around town now. We do all of our HVAC system up to Freon. If we need Freon, we call somebody, but other than that, it's done in-house.
So do you wish to go back to 116? Do we need to make some changes for you, or are you good?
I just want you to know that I may have to ask for some money mid-year for this purpose. Like I said, I hadn't seen a number yet, so. And I like to shop this kind of stuff, so we'll just check around.
Thank you for the heads up on that.
Thank y'all.
Folks, if it's all right with y'all, we're a little ahead of schedule in terms of things. I know some nights have gone a little over, but I would like to see if there's any we might can catch here. That's, if it'd be all right, I think I see two members of Urban Service Committee here currently. Would y'all be in favor of moving and looking at Urban Service 111 right now, or do you want to wait? I am fine with either. Keep going. Somebody good with that? If you will, turning to 111, that will start on page. Give me a second, somewhere around. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the work you do. Page 53. All right, looking at 111 Urban Service. I might say I appreciate those that are here. I appreciate you coming into attendance with it. I know it wasn't on tonight's schedule. If there's anything we want to hold up on, we certainly can. The 111 portion that we're kind of looking at here, there are some 111 pieces that would be funding patrol. 111 pieces we just discussed on page 56 that were waste pickup. So if we looked at the entirety, we could at least get our eyes on it. And if there's anything you want further information on, that certainly would be the time to do. Let's look at 58,400, page 56. I think that's one we can certainly handle right now. You'll see that it is a bit of a deduction there in cost, so or reduction, I should say, wrong word. As we move with this case, very similar. It does have some traffic control increased cost there. Budgeted the same, but any discussion on 58,400, any worries, issues? I have a motion to approve favorable 58,400 as budgeted. I have a second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion on 58,400, page 56? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye, it is favorable. You're saying 58,600. 6,200. There's that, discussed yesterday on the highways, I think we can look at that 58,600, 6,000 highways and 9,000. All right now without a problem. Page 57. The one that was discussed last night on the highways, that 100,000, as you see, is out of urban service, but I think in the last few years, it's always returned somewhere around that 75%. That was one of those that was the maintenance of effort issue quite a few years ago, at least past. I know it's longer than 7 years old. I don't know how long it goes back, but there was some money gave for some movement of pavement. And it was later learned that that's a maintenance of effort, got to continue. That's why that one exists. Yes, sir, Mr. Ford, you mentioned that exact one last night. It comes out of 111, but no, sir, it's just in the 111, not in the 101. Yes, sir.
I'll just take it out of my budget on the other end. So we went ahead and done it. Like 2, 3 years ago, budget on that. We may not be doing it now, but that's what I was talking about other night.
Understood. Any discussion on either of these that we're talking about, 58,600, 6,000, 9,000?
I think we make a motion to approve all of them. I don't see no
Have a
problem.
motion by Mr. Gregory to approve each of those. Have a second by Mr. Cochran. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. I think that may bring us as far as we can go without. Folks, I think that brings us as far as we can go without some of the individuals here that are planning to be here. Planning has planned to be here. Sheriff, I hope has planned to be here. And we could finish up urban services possibly tomorrow as well. I know it's, we'll move through the pieces as we've got. I appreciate the movement tonight. Some nights are heavier than others. Is there anything that anyone would like that we have not gotten covered other than those that you've asked me in the last day or two that we're working on getting brought to your table? Is there anything in budgets that you would like to look at before we go forward? Any information you wish to have? All right. I think there's one or two things still on the table that will get coming to us, but other than that, I appreciate having no more, which means we're moving in the right direction. If there's any budgets or any piece you would like to go back and look at, let me know. I can certainly bring somebody in, but I think we're moving in a good direction on where we are. I appreciate your time and the effort that we've worked through it. Look over your budgets for tomorrow night. The sheriff has plans to be here, if I understand that correctly, and we'll hopefully have some information for us on some slight changes I think he's making adjustments on. Tomorrow night is planning and sheriff's. We're through if y'all want to make a motion. We have a motion by Mr. Ford to adjourn. I have a second. All those in favor, let me know by stating aye and head on out. Aye and out. Thank you for your night.